Hello creatives! Welcome to my little art space. Art is a beautiful thing when mixed in with your unique style, your preferences and desires. I have my sketchbook, you can use any paper you like. I have my pencils, they're nothing special. HB pencils, a mechanical pencil. I use a fine ink pen, the size is 0.4, and my trusty eraser. So I will start by doing a rough sketch of our wreath. I'm going to start first of all with a circle, because that way I know exactly where to place everything. I'm already thinking of the few things I'd like to add. I think I'd like to add a little bird over here, maybe another one over here. I don't like to forget a little ribbon for my wreath. So I'm going to put one up here. Then I'm going to add some flowers, of course. Maybe I'll make some roses, some leaves up here. I will add a pretzel, a typical German Alsatian bread that I love. Another real Alsatian thing is beer. What better time to drink beer than on a hot summer day? It's so refreshing. I'm not so into beer actually, but I know people here are. It's a very big thing here. So I will include it in my summer picture. I think I'll draw a little sun hat here, a bow, maybe a big sun hat, some more flowers. Another thing in summer, which is a big deal here that I really love, is called tarte flambée. So it's a traditional dish here in Alsace, which is a part of France near the border of Germany. Strasbourg, Colmar, some of those are the main big cities. And then there's some amazing cute little towns around here that if you haven't been here, you need to come and visit this part of France. And tarte flambée, it's like a pizza dough, but much thinner. And you can add in, basically it's like a cream cheese. So instead of the tomato sauce, you have the cream cheese, and you have some lardon, which is bacon pieces. You can add onions, mushrooms, and grated cheese on top. But the real typical is just the white cheese and the bacon. It's amazing. And the onions, of course. Some more flowers, maybe some lilacs around here. Of course, I'm going to add some more flowers and leaves. Maybe one big daisy here. Summer is really full of flowers and nature and leaves. And I will add, people here like to drink. We're in France after all. We need to drink some wine, don't we? So yes, we'll make a red wine probably. Maybe some grapes because it's also the season of grapes. So I'm just doing really rough as I think about what I want to draw. What I enjoy about the summer is kind of like what I'm drawing. And I'm kind of going around my wreath like this. Guess what I'm drawing. What else do we do in summer? What keeps us really busy? Taking care of our gardens. So I've started to make a little vegetable garden. I've realized that it's a lot of work. Now I understand why most people that keep a garden are retired. But it's still fun when I do have a little time. It's kind of like art. It's creative and it makes me feel inspired and relaxed. More flowers. Maybe we'll have a bowl of fruit. What fruits are in season in summer? We have a giant cherry tree. Actually, it's our neighbor's cherry tree, but there's a huge branch that is on our side of the garden. So we get to enjoy the cherries that fall on our side. Maybe the bird will have some cherries in his mouth. Okay, let me draw the little bird. Maybe he'll be facing down. Maybe the cherries will go this way instead. He's having a little peck of cherries. And make our... So I start off with the very rough shapes. And now I'm going a little bit more into the details of my picture. I might even add a little pattern to this. Little lines. Let me draw the birdie first. Here I was going to have some roses. Maybe I'll have him. Actually, he needs to be on something. I don't know if it would fit to put him on the ribbon. We are doing a little comic style, so you don't always have to go by the rules. I give a rough little erasing so I can kind of have a start. For my roses, I do little lines like that. I start with a circle and I kind of add to another one. I have this really old rose bush in my garden. It gives beautiful peach roses. At least twice a year. And it's gorgeous, big roses. And it's so old. So I'm amazed that it still blooms. Onto my pretzel. So once I'll just draw the whole thing, usually like this, and then I'll erase again. Now I'll draw the real lines. So one loop goes over, the other one underneath. A little bit of space for the beer, bubbles, flying all over the place. Big giant. I'm thinking of the beer festival since we live very close to Germany. But beer, even though beer festival is at a certain time of the year, beer I think is all year round. They even have some hot beers in winter. We're in the month of summer right now. So we will enjoy cold beers. Here I might add some, I don't know, maybe cherries again. More little flowers. Just feel free to draw some things that you like. I added a few of my favorite things in summer. I'm drawing a hat because I love our family outings together. And I have a little straw hat too. Some more flowers. I'm going to draw my favorite flower, which is a daisy. Add the little lines in the middle like that. And this other flower that you see everywhere is another one of my favorites that I don't know what flower it is. I just draw it all over the place, everywhere, any season. I give it 1 dot or 2 dots. I give it 1 petal or 4 or 5 petals. And here's a tout flambe. So I'm going with my pencil stroke again, a little bit darker this time. Maybe erasing some of the lines that I know I won't need. Here's my little board. So they often serve them, even in restaurants, they serve them on these big boards, wooden boards. It makes it so traditional. Lines here will be the bacon, and sometimes they have onions, which I'll make little curvy lines. There's our white cheese. Here I was going to make some lilacs. Lilacs are these actually, if you look at them closely, they're these tiny little flowers, but all bunched together. Something like that. And they do have big, longer leaves. And I'll mix in some other leaves. Maybe I'll make one more here. So you're making these tiny, you don't have to fill them. I don't even fill mine all the way. I kind of like that, and then some more leaves. And I will include another one of my favorite flowers. This time a giant daisy. Again, stay true to you and add in your favorite flowers or your favorite summer fruit or vegetable. Actually, that's what I didn't add. I didn't add vegetables, did I? What vegetables do I love in summer? I like the cucumbers. Maybe I'll draw one right here. Has these little pokey things. And I love the tomatoes. which I'll add a tomato here. Kind of have the same shape as an apple, but I think just the little stem, gives it away. It's different. Cucumbers might have a few little lines. Maybe I'll make another one here so we can see what it is. Moving on to my wine. We'll have a full glass with some bubbles in it. Voila. Voila for our French wine. I will shade it in to make it look red. More flowers. Some of the leaves for our cluster of grapes. And let's draw some grapes. Easy circles. I might even go a little bit over the bottle. I think I like that look. So don't worry about putting some. I draw some and then I put some behind as well. There we go. Kind of fill up the space all the way to there. You can even go behind if you want and add another leaf. Even add some of the twirly vine things. All right. I know it doesn't really match with each other so well. That's why towards the end I kind of fill it up. Like here it's very full, here maybe less full. I'll kind of fill it up and see what I need to add to kind of even it out. So here we'll make one rose, another rose. So we have another one of these on this side of the wreath. I think this is just a normal flower. My watering can is okay. It's clear enough. So some things were very rough, other things were okay, like this one. My thing of cherries and birdies, I'll just erase slightly so I can draw it again a little clearer. So some of the cherries I'm leaving their stems in. They're so pretty and cute. And it kind of makes them look like cherries. And I love these little French bowls. Might even give mine a little pattern. French pattern. I don't know if it's a French pattern. Making little tulips, circles, leaves, and ending with my little birdie. All right, so we have the idea, and then I kind of go around and fill it with flowers. This is as you know, it's my filler. My favorite filler are flowers. Different kinds of leaves. Make this little one there. Here another little leaf. Here needs a little bit of something. What else could I add? Maybe one of these fern-looking leaves, because it kind of takes a lot of space. One more flower. And I think it looks quite nice. Maybe a little falling leaf here. A little branch of leaves over here. I think I like it. Now that we're done the sketch, we're moving on to the line art. So I'm using my fine point pen. I'm going to start over here from the top left and just some very simple, not perfect strokes. As you see, I don't mind leaving a few little spaces, like adding these little lines for little cute texture for the birds. You can go at your own pace, your own speed. Some things I'm pretty sure of, so I go fairly quick, like these leaves. Other times I'm not so sure of myself. Here I'm just going to make all the circle shapes, then add the dots. And then if I want, I can add the little stems after. Sometimes it helps to move your paper around or book around to whatever feels most comfortable for you. It's not so practical when it's such a big book like this. I would have preferred a little square sketchbook, but I couldn't find one. Especially when you're drawing something round like this. I would need an even finer pen to do these little shapes, but I don't have one right now, so I'll just use what I have. Sometimes I follow my lines, other times I just go with what feels right. And I am free to change a few things as I go about drawing. So because I have my sketch already, it's quicker to do the line art. With the sketch, I'm still trying out, experimenting where I want everything. I don't really have a pre-planned idea most of the time, what's going to go where. I make little decorations on the sides. And here the label for our wine bottle. Oh, this really should be dark, but I'm not going to color quite yet with my pen. And here we can draw our grapes. Again, I do the first ones and then I just go behind. And we're ready to draw our daisies. Well, as you do the line art, you can also decide what things you want to bring to the front and what things you want in the back. Sometimes that's not always so clear as you're doing the sketch, for example, here for the tomato and the flower, or even the leaf over here. Here we had the cucumbers, which are not so clear. I hope that you can somewhat tell that they're cucumbers. Maybe I didn't draw them totally right. They should have been a little bit more curved. Okay, we're gonna move on here to some really tiny flowers. Sometimes I wish I had another pen that was smaller size. Then you could make your little details with a smaller. I would advise you, if you have that, to go ahead and use it. Sometimes I even use one ink pen for just the outlines, which is a little wider, thicker than what I use for the inside lines. And then for tiny details, I definitely would prefer to go with a thinner point. Here we have our little saw, so this part is not smooth and straight. I have my bacon, which I make a little rectangle. Onions, I can make my little curved moons. Let's make our nice wooden board. If you're worried about the straightness of your lines or the proportions, then don't worry too much about that, because it doesn't really matter. So we have lots of leaves and flowers over here. As you recall from our sketch, we use that to fill up the space of the wreath. Sometimes I like keeping it very simple, leaving space and breathing room. But for this one, I loaded it with stuff because we have our breathing space in the center and all around. And that way for our wreath, I kind of made and added, which would fill it out evenly, one side from the other. I'd be curious to see what other things you add to your summer page. What are those things that you enjoy? Oh, I did forget to draw a bathing suit and ice cream. I think those are some of our family's highlights. I think I went more with what was the traditional highlights of this part of the country I live in. But if you want to personalize it for you, then yeah, don't forget those other important ones. For me, I could have added definitely ice cream and bathing suits, because that's the time that we like to swim. So when my kids were little, they they would enjoy, be satisfied with swimming in a puddle. Now they don't fit in so well. We do enjoy some nice lakes, sometimes wild ones, sometimes more touristic ones. That's definitely a highlight of our summer. This summer, I think we only went swimming twice though, so maybe that's why I wasn't thinking about swimming. We had a very rainy summer. We were kind of waiting for the summer to come, and then it's so close to the end now, so it was an interesting summer. Maybe it will still warm up soon, but either way, we'll be happy and grateful for the sun we had and all the rain, which was very good for our garden. My leaves, I like to make a line in the center and sometimes even end it with a couple tiny lines or dots. So you can see I kind of jump around from here to there. I started with my bird's tail and wing, then I moved on to the flower and the leaves. Though what makes it easier if you just kind of work your way through whatever comes in front first. It's always easier to do the things that are behind, the objects behind afterwards. The fun part. I love this pretty bow or ribbon, and I think we had our bird stand on it, even though it's a bit unrealistic because he wouldn't fit on it so well. Here I choose to have my flower in front, though you could pick yours behind if you want. I made my bow, my ribbon, kind of pointy at the end, cut like that. And we are almost finished. Just a couple last flowers and leaves to finish off our sketch. I look around to see in case I've missed anything. Sometimes I go too fast, or I miss lines because of my pencil sketch is not so clear. Okay, well, just moving on to the ribbon. I think I'll just make 3. If you have a finer pen, I would suggest you to use that for this part, because I would if I had one. As you can tell, I'm just content with the art supplies that I have. I know that sometimes it can make a difference what art supplies you have, but I don't want to limit myself by saying, oh, I can't do good art because I don't have the fancy exact art supplies that I need. I prefer just starting, making good art with the simple supplies I have, and then little by little building up a stash of extra supplies that I would like. Here I'm adding little salt sprinkles on my pretzel. That's how they eat their pretzels here. And it goes really good with beer, actually. They enjoy it. It's a typical snack here on a summer day is a big salty pretzel, sometimes with cheese on top and a cold beer. I'm going to go ahead and erase. Just make sure that your ink, I start off really slow and light to make sure that my ink is not smudging anywhere. I should actually start on the side that I started sketching. It's given more time for it to dry. Pay attention if there's anything I've missed. For example, a little line here for my leaf. There we go. I think our pictures, our little wreath is all done. Oops, I noticed a couple lines for my daisy. One very last thing is I like to add a little quote. I'm taking my mechanical pencil and I'm going to write a very simple little quote. I can use my ruler to make a line. I'm going to do the rough, very rough again. Maybe go a little behind. I don't know if you can guess what letter this is. I just like to add a little quote, something that's meaningful for this month. Alright, it doesn't take up the whole space, but it's a start. So now we're ready to ink it. If you want to add a different quote, or something that is meaningful for you, please go ahead. That's what I love about the seasons, because each season we can focus on something different. There's a time to be happy. There are also moments of grief, of sadness, and we can be okay with that. I had my moments of frustration this summer too. Working on my art, sometimes not knowing where I was going to go with it, not seeing clearly what to do. But it all worked out in the end. I didn't have to push myself so hard. I learned to be gentle with myself. It's like we can't determine what the weather's going to be, sun or rain. So we take what comes. For the always, I might do a little line like this. I'm just sort of using my cursive that I know from school, maybe adding a little shadow to one side, to the downstrokes like this. But not much more than that. Alright, sunshine, always on my mind. Looks like one big word, but it's okay. Well, there we have it. Our finished little wreath for summer. If you would like, you could even continue on by adding a little shades on your picture. Any HB pencil will do. And I'm just going to go do very few little strokes like this on the lines, on the behind parts, you could say, in the corners. Sometimes not really following any particular rule, but just where I think could look good. I think a little shadow like this kind of helps the picture to stand out a bit. It really changes a lot. Any little corners like that here. If you don't want to do this part, then feel free to just skip this part. I'm not going to go through the whole thing today, but I'm just going to show you a few little ideas. So for the roses, I kind of do, again, what I want to go behind. Petal is behind here, so I put a little shadow on this side. Just something like that. For my leaves, I'll go ahead and do a little bit on the end here, like this. Or sometimes where I think the leaf is folded. Just a few little soft, gentle strokes, not too hard. If you prefer, you can even do this part for your coloring with colors instead of just with black and white. But I'm just showing you some ideas of how you can add in your little shades. And I'll leave the coloring up to you. So we've done our flowers and leaves, our bow, our bird. I'll show you one of the birds. Again, here, the little leaves. Now for my bowl, I would just do like the inside. That way the cherries stand out a little more. Maybe the bottom of the bowl here too. And the sides. I do a little bit on this side, a little bit on this side. That way it kind of shows that my light source is coming from the front. If you want to do your cherries, you can give a little side shadow like this, but you don't really notice a difference. The watering can, again, the inside, so I just do the little ends, the corners of the inside. Sometimes I do little strokes like that, just for the sides of a pot or a bowl. For my wine bottle as well, I'll kind of do the sides, give it a little shadow to kind of, I guess it kind of brings out that it's rounded. And the glass as well. I guess we're going with white wine after all, since I didn't color it in. For my flowers, I'm just going to do a little shadow a little shading right here, not shadow, a little shading just in the center. That way it kind of brings out the rest of the petals even more. If you want to do for the inside, you just do a little curve like that. Your tomato, for my tomato, I'm just going to do on one side a little bit of shading. For my cucumbers, a little bit on the back. For here, my board, I'm going to do the sides of the board. That way it can stand out a little more. Even not fully, just like that. I can make a few little strokes and curved lines to show that it's wood. What else? My hat again, I'm going to show, because it's curved, so I'm going to make little lines like this. And on the inside, we'll put some shading as well. Again, my beer, if you want the foam part, you can add a few little circles like this to show that it's bubbling all over. Maybe I'll add a little shadow to the middle part here, kind of it's dented in, and to the side, because it's behind the hat. And I think that's it. This bird, I showed you how I did the birds, so you can go ahead and do that one. The flowers, we also practiced with the first one. I think the summer is always a time that I work a little less and relax a little more. Maybe it's like that for you. For example, I take more time with friends and especially family. I feel that it's also a good time to fit in those few things that I don't usually get to fit in at other times of the year, like sitting out in the garden with a favorite book or taking long walks out in nature, visiting, exploring new places. And all this usually leads to more inspiration and more ideas for my creativity. So I hope you can enjoy your summer this year and enjoy your piece of art. Thanks for joining me in this, and I will see you next time.